All right, the time has come where we are doing our final 3-point assignment, which is the last project that I grade that you do. And that's assignment 7. It's a digital painting assignment. I have an exhaustive explanation of digital painting. I have an inspiring process exploration. This is all under assignments. But I wanted to start here because I'm going to show you what I'm going to be influenced by this semester. And that's Andy Warhol's Polaroid photos of celebrities, right? He would invite celebrities into his studio in the 60s, and he would also do self-portraits like Mick Jagger, Debbie Harry, Dolly Parton, John and Yoko, Dennis Hopper, etc. And he would just take a Polaroid picture of them, and then I'm going to choose one of these, and that's going to be my photo reference for the digital painting I do. But let's look at the actual assignment under unit modules, because this is our introduction to it. What you need to do is choose what your subject matter is going to be for your digital painting. And to keep you kind of focused on the skills I want you to learn, I'm limiting you, I just went to the same place. I'm limiting you to either doing a portrait from the shoulders up or doing an animal from head to toe. And we're just going to do it like those Polaroids on just a blank background. So if I go to unit modules, we only have 2 class periods for this. So we don't want to do anything that's too many components. So I just want you to focus on one subject matter on a blank background, whether it's a person or an animal. And you can stylize it the way you want. It can be caricaturish, but it needs to be digital painting, right? There is question of the day 4 built into this module. It's our last question of the day of the semester. Remember, you want to think about this question. We'll talk more about it in class over the next weeks. And there's some videos. It's really getting at the problems that digital art has with its authenticity, right? With it, even if it is completely authentic and original, with people's perception of its authenticity because of things like AI and because of perfect digital copies, right? So AI has, especially generative AI, has really, really changed how people perceive digital art and the difficulty of it, though it does have its good use cases. So answer with over 100 words on topic and you'll get credit for that question of the day. And it gives you a chance to really think about generative AI in the context of the skills we've been building. So you can either do an animal from head to toe like this butterfly or a portrait from the shoulders up. And it needs to be referencing at least one photo, right? Remember, we're just doing a blank white background because you can always drop a background in on your own after the fact using the same skills. You can really play with the proportions, with the color, but these are digital paintings, not digital colorings. So it is not based on line art being on top, right? If you sketch and do lines, that will be underneath what you eventually paint. There are lots of past student examples here in the Imgur, and you'll see their photo reference, and you'll see their digital painting. And digital paintings will have very, very different techniques. So a lot of the time students will try to go for photorealism and then end up kind of making their own adjustments, right, on the way. And we'll learn a lot about this through the process. And we do this after presentations because you've seen just today different approaches to digital painting, whether they do it with lots of layers, whether they do it with very few layers, whether they do digital coloring and line art, or whether they just use pixel shapes and brushes. Sometimes they adhere very closely to the photo reference, and sometimes they really stylize for themselves. Okay. So what you need to choose is what your topic is going to be, and then we'll get started on it. And you're going to post your photo for next class, right? So we'll talk about some of these different approaches, speed painting versus sketching, color palettes, all this kind of thing. So I've already done this. I'm going to do a portrait of Andy Warhol from the shoulders up, right? We talked about modernist monsters. This is going to be like a pop art portrait. And a pop art portrait of like a very notable pop artist. So I found a couple photos of Andy Warhol I like. This is one of his self-portrait Polaroids. And then to kind of show how inspirations can affect your choices for painting. I'm just taking one of his portraits that he did from one of his Polaroids of Mick Jagger, lead singer of the Rolling Stones. Just these kind of wild colors, the kind of flat brushstrokes and stuff. That might be inspiration. My painting isn't going to look like that at the end. It's going to be my painting. It's going to look like kind of stuff I do. But it's fun to be inspired by some stuff. So this is what I want you to have. Photos of your subject matter, either animal or person, for our next class. So when we start digital painting, you know immediately what you're going to apply it to. And that's it.